Well guys, as we're approaching the announcement and reveal for the next generation Nintendo system or the Nintendo Switch 2, it seems like more and more leaks and rumors are just going to start coming out, and that's pretty much what happened this past weekend, as we got some news about a very important feature that looks like it's actually going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 from a pretty reliable source, but then all of this information was actually backed up by an even more credible source, so now it's getting very exciting, and I've never wanted a rumor to turn out to be more true than this one. It just makes me very excited, so I figured I would talk about it with you guys and give you guys my thoughts. So firstly, where is all of this information coming from? This is coming from the Universo Nintendo Portuguese fan website, where it seems like they had a podcast over the past weekend where they were talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, and one of the big editors for the website, Necro Felipe, has started talking about some of the things that he's heard about concerning a big feature for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, Necro Felipe has actually given us leaks and rumors in the past, and he seems to have a pretty reliable track record. He's leaked stuff like when exactly Nintendo Directs are going to happen, stuff that could be announced in them. Most recently, he leaked the title for the Sonic X Shadow Generations game that got announced in the Sony State of Play, so he seems to have a pretty decent track record, and he's even given us information about like the supposed specs for the Nintendo Switch, but we don't actually know how much of that is true, so it does seem like he's gotten some things correct, so he might very well have some inside sources, and so he provided some really big information about a very important feature that everybody has been asking for the Nintendo Switch 2, and that's backwards compatibility. Pretty much anytime there's a discussion about the Nintendo Switch 2, or people ask like which features you really want to see in the next generation Nintendo system, the number one thing that always comes up is the concept of backwards compatibility, the ability to be able to play all of your existing current Nintendo Switch games on the next generation system as well, like how you can play PlayStation 4 games even on the PlayStation 5. And for the most part, Nintendo has always been really good with having backwards compatibility, especially for like their handheld systems. You can play the original Game Boy and Game Boy Color games on a Game Boy Advance, you can play GBA games on the Nintendo DS, and you can play the DS games on a 3DS, but then even with some of the home consoles, you have like GameCube games that can be played on the Wii, and then you've got Wii games that can be played on the Wii U. And so if the Switch 2 is just going to be like the current Nintendo Switch, but more powerful with some better features and bells and whistles, there's really no reason why the games that you have right now for the Switch shouldn't be able to work on the next generation system as well. And so it seems like it is going to be possible, and Necro Felipe even said that it's going to work for both physical games and digital games, so it doesn't matter how you bought your Switch games, whether you bought them digitally from the eShop, or you have a whole bunch of cartridges right now for your current Nintendo Switch, you're going to be able to use both of them on the next generation system. Now this already by itself is very good news, just knowing that all of the current Nintendo Switch games that you have in your library right now, whether it's physical ones or digital ones, you're going to be able to bring them all over to the next generation system and continue playing them on that. But it's also nice knowing that if you have some Switch games that you maybe haven't had the chance to buy yet, but you are interested in playing them, it's not like if the next system comes out, you're just not going to have the chance to play them. You can still buy them and play them on the next generation system. But here's the part that got me really excited, because Necro Felipe also said that the way that backwards compatibility is going to work on the Switch 2 is that it's also going to allow for developers to enhance their games on the Nintendo Switch 2 from gaining the extra performance that's going to be unlocked by having more powerful hardware. And so after hearing this, I'm very much excited now for the possibility of this happening, because this means now that if you put in a game that's from the Nintendo Switch that you currently have, there's a possibility that developers could actually update their games to run even better with potentially better resolution, better frame rates, and better features to take advantage of the Nintendo Switch 2's power and still make their existing games look even better. Honestly, I think I want to make an entire video just going over some Switch 1 games that could really benefit from having enhancements on the Nintendo Switch 2 with having more power, as just having stuff like better resolution with the upscaling tech, making stuff look sharper and the games look better for having better resolutions on bigger TVs, having better frame rates, like if Tears of the Kingdom was 60 FPS when you're facing off against bokoblins and stuff, I feel like it would be much more fun to play, and then maybe even just stuff with like HDR, if that's enabled on the system and you can have better colors and more vibrant colors on your TV for games, that would be awesome too. And this information actually gets even better because it's been backed up by Nate the Hate on the Reset Aero forum, and if you don't know Nate the Hate, he's pretty much like one of the most credible leakers that we have right now when it comes to Nintendo stuff, and even other video game stuff too, like PlayStation and Xbox, but for Nintendo stuff, he's leaked pretty much exactly when Nintendo Directs are going to happen, some of the things that we could see in them, and even with games like Fire Emblem Engage, he basically leaked kind of the premise for that game months before we were shown that game for the first time, so he definitely seems to have some inside sources, and And so there was a recent Aero thread that was discussing this rumor that came out from Necrofelipe about the backwards compatibility and enhancing the games, and somebody commented just saying like, please be true, to which Nate the Hate replied by saying, back compat is present to partners and testing is underway. The major unknown seems to be the extent any such enhancements may provide. And so basically Nate the Hate has backed up that information as well, saying that backwards compatibility has been present to partners and they're doing testing to make sure that it works, but the major unknown really is going to be kind of exactly how those enhancements are going to work and to what extent that they're going to go to. And that really kind of is the biggest question that we have from all of this. Like in a perfect world, if you transfer everything digitally, it would just happen automatically. But if you have a cartridge for like a Switch 1 game, if you put it inside of the Switch 2, the Switch 2 would just recognize like you're playing a Switch 1 game, but you're playing it on the Switch 2, and all of a sudden you would have access to stuff like better resolution and frame rate and things like that. But that's probably not how it works, because I'm sure those games weren't made with like a Switch 2 version in mind or anything like that. So more than likely, like with PlayStation 5 games, you probably need to have like an update or a patch that needs to come out that unlocks like better performance or better frame rates and things like that, that makes it kind of like next gen compatible, I guess. And so that's really kind of what I feel like is probably going to happen, and it's really going to be up to Nintendo to decide exactly how they're going to treat this. In the end, I feel like there's basically a spectrum of the 3 different levels that Nintendo could go through to having Switch 1 games getting enhancements on the Switch 2, where the one that you see at the very end here in the green is extremely pro-consumer, and it would be the best option for all of us, where Nintendo basically just releases a ton of free updates and patches that allow for having better enhancements for Switch 1 games on the Switch 2. So basically just having like a free patch that comes out for something like Xenoblade 3 or Tears of the Kingdom or something like that, and it allows for like HDR, better frame rates, better resolution, and things like that, and they're all just free upgrades that everybody can do on the Switch 2. And then you've got the complete opposite side of the spectrum here in the red, where this would be fully anti-consumer Nintendo, and the worst timeline for all of us, where every single Switch 1 game that gets enhanced to the Switch 2 is now going to have some type of like upgrade fee or a patch fee or something like that, where if you want to play like Tears of the Kingdom in 60 FPS, and if you want to download like an HDR version of Xenoblade 3 or something like that, like all of the improvements that Switch 1 games get, you have to pay like $10 to get the patch to download for the Switch 2 version, or you have to pay like $5 or whatever they make it for every single Switch 2 game. So this would make it really, really bad if you want to have these enhancements for the next gen version. And then you've also got like the middle option here in the yellow, where I guess this would be like a case-by-case basis, where it's really kind of dependent maybe on like the developer. If Monolith Soft wants to release like a free update for all the Xenoblade games on the Switch 2 where it allows for having better resolution and frame rates and things like that, they can do that. But if Nintendo wants to release like a $10 patch for Tears of the Kingdom to allow for 60 FPS and other improvements, then they're going to make theirs paid, that everybody has to pay the fee if they want to have the next gen version. So I guess it could also come down to something like that. Honestly, at this point for me, I don't really care which one we get. Like, I'd be willing to pay if I wanted to, but I really hope that I don't have to. I just want to be able to experience some of these Switch games with having better performance and visuals, because I really feel like it could make the experience even better. But yeah, there you go guys, that is pretty much all the information that we have right now about the Nintendo Switch 2 and having backwards compatibility and the possibility of having your Switch 1 games enhanced on the Switch 2. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to click that like button and also subscribe to the channel, as well as I'm definitely going to have some more videos talking about the Switch 2 as the information comes out. Comment down below and let me know what you guys think about all of this. Would you like to see backwards compatibility on the Nintendo Switch 2? And would you be happy if there is going to be enhancements to your Switch 1 games? And would you be okay with paying for them if there's going to be a patch that allows you to do that? Or do you think that it has to be free? What are your thoughts on everything? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. But if you don't have anything to say about this, just comment your favorite emoji down below for some engagement. I would really appreciate it. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.